The other one
about that.
And we were talking about our first show, and on our very first show, if you go back, is by Nathanial Philbrick. I'm sorry, our first show was not by Nathanial Philbrick, but the first person that we had on the show.
Right.
We do get interviews every once in a while. Ta-da! This is Nathanial Philbrick's latest book, Bunker Hill, and I'm in the process of reading this one, and like all of his stuff, he just has a very sound journalistic quality to it. Lots of description. Lots of apropos facts. It's just very detail oriented, but not to the point of dulling the senses. And so it's so far so good. So far it's a good read. And we were talking in the last segment about our declaration, about the Declaration of Independence, and this is what happened. When the war started. The war started, I guess, I always get the timelines mixed up, but it was 1775, I believe. Bunker Hill. I don't know. I hadn't gotten there yet.
When the Revolutionary War started.
Yeah,
I mean the war. We've been going on about a year.
Yeah, the war started early. It started before the Declaration, so technically, we had to. We had to shake our fists a little bit, right? We had to get the locusts off of us.
So we had to get the point across.
Well, yeah, I know. There's no more discussion. No more time for discussion, right? Time to get moving. The last thing I personally wanted to talk about was the. Anyway, but we're working also to try to get Nathanial Philbrick back on the show with us and have him talk about that one. I want to get a little further into it, though. And
just to clarify, just so that people have a reference point of who we're talking about here, because we have talked about Nathanial Philbrick before, not just in the first episode that we did way back.
Right.
This is the same author that did The Mayflower and Sea of Glory. If you have heard us talk about those books, because Hank has reviewed those books in past episodes, so this is the same author that did that. He's an amazing author, an amazing guy. The interview was, seriously, go back to our podcast archive. If you go on the homepage, you'll see like a microphone on the front. It says podcast archive, and you'll have to really kind of search for it. It's probably about like page 6 in. You'll have to click on the older. But it's like the very first or the very second episode we ever did, and this was the guy that we interviewed. It really was a good interview.
The interview was the only good part of the show, right?
Well, that and Randy Hignight. Don't forget about him.
I forgot about Randy. Yeah.
Yes, Randy was on that episode.
We actually had him sing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That was awesome. In fact, he was the only musician we ever had.
The only musician we had live in the studio. Yeah.
And I tried to get another one. Never.
Yeah, I know. We both attempted to make it a musical variety show, but I guess it never.
Yeah, it went good for a little while.